அப்படின்னு. முதல்ல ஒரு கொஸ்டின் கேட்டிருக்கா. நெறைய கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருக்கு அதுல. ஒரே செட் ஆஃப் கொஸ்டின்ல நெறைய கொஸ்டின், மல்டிபிள் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருக்கு. அம் எப்படி சுவாமி அத இது பண்ணலாம்? அத படிச்சுட்டுமா?
கேளுங்க, ஒவ்வொன்னா கேளுங்க.
Sandhyavandanam, he does Sandhyavandanam every day. He sometimes joins in our Vishnu Sahasranamam chanting and also sometimes says Tripalyeshi Tripava in the morning. He's asked, but he's not doing it voluntarily. It is upon our consistent request and every reminders. Next one is, why do we need to pray every day? Is it not enough to be a good person and do good in the world?
Is it not enough to be a good person and do good in the world? Being a good person and doing good in the world is what is the purpose of our existence. So that is correct, that we should do good, be good and do good. That is what is the purpose. Now the challenge is, it is very difficult for us to sustain that mode as well as the mood. It is very difficult for us to sustain in that particular mode, continuously being good and doing good, because the world is in such a state, doesn't allow you to easily do the good, because as per the shastras say, satyam shathena vighnanam sahasrena tatha tapaha. If you want to do good, if you want to tell the truth, if you want to do penance, there will be a lot of challenges. So who puts this challenge? Why somebody is bothered if we do good? Right? Now if you see, doing good is basically, it appears to be, the basic thing. We have to do good. What is wrong with that? That's what we should be doing. That's what we think. But unfortunately, there is always a competition for power. So for example, if you want to do good for many, and if you want to acquire more, say, powers, like you want to do some japam, upasana, tapas, something like that, and your goal is only to do good, there is always somebody else who has actually done that before, and they have attained a particular state of power, like Indra, like the Devatas. They have done a lot of penance. They have actually gone into this particular position, and they feel very insecure if another person is also trying to do that, because they think that they will be overthrown by this person. So they are the people who doesn't allow you to do too many good things. That's what is the design of this world. It seems to be that we have to do good to everyone. That's what it looks like. But there are too many people who think that if this person is also doing good, if I am also doing good, and if this person is also doing good, what if he tries to compete with me? What if I lose this particular position or exalted state that I have got? So I will ensure that he doesn't do that. So these are the kind of tridashaha paripantinaha. If you're talking about moksha, if you're doing penance for even some better capabilities that you would like to acquire, even for that, these devatas, they actually block you. But unfortunately, we think that these devatas are the ones who immediately give us benefits, and many people go and fall for that. But they will do all those things as long as you work for them. The moment they see you as a threat, they cannot handle it. They won't entertain you or encourage you towards doing anything that will take you up. That they see it as the day when they start seeing you as a competition, they will start throwing a lot of hurdles against you. Samsara nyunata bhitaha tridashaha paripantinaha. So if somebody is going to even try for moksha, if somebody does sharanagati, even for that, these devatas does not allow him to do sharanagati itself. They put so much of vignas. Vignayutena govinde nrunam bhaktir nivaryate. So it is not such a easy task to sustain the goodness. So it is important for us to continuously be connected with the Supreme on a daily basis. And if not 24 hours, if not all the time, at least in the prescribed time when that particular connectivity will be effective, because it is the design of the world. Perumal has mentioned that, in these times, if you do these things as per my agnya, these things will happen. So we tend to do it at least at that particular time. That is what it is. Because you have to understand that, yes, we have to be good and we have to do good. If we have to be good and do good, then why are we born in such a body that does not allow us to do so many things? Why it is temporary? Why can't we get a body that is having more longevity with which we can do more good? The very reason that we have been given this limited body is only because of our sins. This body is not something great that as we think. There are better positions, better lokas, worlds from where we can do good things for many, right? But the moment you start going towards that, there is also a challenge for that. So you need to be connected with the Supreme all the time. And you need to also feel, or repent for all the bad things that you might have done before. Yes, we have done bad things before. We have done sins. That is why we have been given this very temporary and limited body. Otherwise, we would be having more capabilities like other bigger devatas or rishis and other people. Right? We can't even sit and meditate for 15 minutes or half an hour in today's world. Why is that? That itself shows that because of our sins that we are so limited. And the more you repent for whatever you have done, you have abused the very good body that were given before, and you have done lot. That is why we are, today uh, struggling with this limited body, right? So it is very helpful to get connected with the Supreme on a daily basis to sustain the goodness. It will not take a fraction of a second for you to get spoiled by what is known as sahavasa, the environment, the vatavarana, the sahavasa, the friendship and association, other things. These things can quickly spoil somebody, take you immediately out of the good path. It's very difficult to hold the fort. So these daily prayers are, it's not mandatory. It is highly recommended. See, nothing is mandatory. Who is going to, is somebody going to, can somebody force you to eat? Can somebody force you to tell something? Nobody is going to do that. It is highly recommended. It's for our good. So we do it. Simple as that. Next one.
Aryan. Why do I have to learn and recite stotras now? Can I not learn when I am ready at 40?
So who defined this 40? How do you think you will be ready by 40? That is the question that first you will have to think. And what is the purpose of reciting this stotras? This is important for the parents. Parents just say that you have to tell this, you have to tell this. What is the purpose of these stotras? Why should, even I will ask, why should we actually recite that? Right? These are the questions that, see, look at the genuine questions that come from the next generation. Why should I recite these stotras today? Now, I don't even understand what it is. What is the meaning of it? You keep saying that I have to tell this. Why should I tell? So you have to patiently explain. First, you have to understand as a parent, and you should also help the next generation to understand what is the purpose of life. What are we? We are not these bodies. We are the indwellers. We are inside. And we have a longer journey than what we apparently see. In that journey, we have taken this limited body for a while. And once this body goes off, again we'll be born in some other form or other. So it keeps coming. This body keeps coming again and again based on our actions, and whether it is good or bad. Depending on that, you will get different types of bodies, and it's a continuous journey. In this continuum, right? In this travel of your soul. This is a particular point in time where you are given an opportunity to end this birth again and again and get liberated and be at a permanent place. That is what is known as moksha or Vaikuntha, liberation. Again born, again, suffer, struggle, challenges, so many things that we see. See, Corona is, spread so wide today. Then the next one comes. There is always, challenges all the time. Is this what we should be doing all the time? When somebody feels they are so fed up, what is next? How do I get out of this? Is there a world where there is permanent peace, permanent happiness, where we can do, something that makes sense all the time? When somebody feels that, that is when there is something called as moksha that is waiting for you. When you don't feel it, as long as you are with your parents who are spoon feeding you and you are having, good food and everything that is served for you ready made, you wouldn't understand that. But there is a wild world outside. Once you grow, you will find that the world is really wild. Now, coming back to the stotra, so why do we have to tell the stotras? These stotras, today you memorize that. But later on, after a period of time, when you find time, you start trying to understand the meanings of that. Then you will start understanding that these are nothing but the outpour of the experience of our great preceptors. And these experiences will help you to understand what is this world about, who is God, who are we, what should we be doing, how do we get out of this whole, trap called as samsara. All those things you will start getting to know. So keep, just memorizing this at this age. This is the age when you can memorize. After that, you cannot memorize. So 40 is, what is 40 or 50? Who fixes that? Just doesn't make sense. The earlier, the better. Before 18 years, you should have, you should be thorough with all our Purvacharya stotras and all the Arulichel and all those, so that later on you can do what is known as contemplation or anusandhana. Then you yourself will know what is the value of this. Next one.
Aryan, I don't see God. I see sun and things in this world. Why do you want to force your belief into me?
It's not about forcing any belief. Everybody has the right to believe, right? So this is a common question that is asked by most of the atheists, those who don't believe in God. They say that I don't see God. They say, I don't see God. So why should I believe in God? There are multiple answers to this. Let us take them one by one. I'll just only quote two things. Number one, so if there was no God, what made this earth rotate around itself in its axis and revolve around the sun? And who is fueling the sun, which is about some millions of times than Earth? They say that millions of Earth can be accommodated inside the sun. It's still the science that says that. Who knows? Because science has not been anywhere near proximate to nearer or proximate to the sun. But who's fueling the sun? And why is it producing that heat and light? That is actually the source for the life on this earth. And what is this so-called gravity? Who's holding us intact? And how is it exactly that this earth is, rotating on its own axis for 24 hours, 12 hours in the day and 12 hours in the night, little bit, more and less. And then how does it tilt towards the south as well as the north once in 6 months, which we call it as Dakshinayana and Uttarayana? and 365 days and odd number of hours and minutes and seconds exactly every year around in an elliptical orbit around the sun. Who made all these things happen? And don't tell me that science says, because science has not told anything very clear. Science is only speculating, because even science has not seen the Big Bang. They say there was a Big Bang. Did they see it? They didn't see it. If they didn't see it and they won't believe what they have seen it, how can they claim that such a thing has happened based on some research and some studies? If their studies can be believed and they recommend us to believe it, why not we recommend them the belief that we have? And our forefathers, our preceptors or the sages, they did not do something like what the science has done, empirical and other things. They have done it through their penance. They set up an inner lab, and their methodology was entirely different. It was known as tapasya. They were the master of yoga, and they had their own methodology. The methodology that is not put into practice today, through which they had acquired this knowledge. How can that be treated as void or invalidated by the science that never tried out that practice? See, without being empirical, if I say that, oh, the science is nonsense, that is not correct, because if I have to invalidate science, I have to go in the methodology of science. Similarly, if they have to invalidate our forefathers, they have to come through the methodology of what they have done. Did anybody to do penance for 200 years, 1000 years, like our sages? Did they control their, their senses, their hunger, and sit in a place and just kept on meditating or contemplating? No, science has not done that. It never tried, it never even attempted, because nobody has time for that. Whereas these people who sat in a place, and you can't see Saturn or Jupiter with a naked eye, that is, I mean, you can say you can see, but it's a dot somewhere. But they have precisely calculated that, Saturn will take this many number of years to go around the sun. How did they do that in astrology? Jupiter takes this many years. It moves through each and every constellation in 1 year and odd number of days. Saturn through every constellation over 2.5 years. So what are these constellations? Why only those stars? Why not others? How did they find out all these things using their own naked eye? So these are all the things that we need to look up to. Then we will say that, no, yes, there is a reason why we say that, somebody exists to begin with, who has designed all these things. There is a mastermind. We can't get away. We can't just say that, it all happened by an accident. So who made that accident happen? How did that accident happen then? Even in the science world, there is somebody called as a first mover. The law of inertia says that, your body continues to be in the state of rest or in the state of motion unless and until an external force acts on it. Now the question is, how does that external force act? Or how does the body continue to be in the motion? Somebody has to set it to motion. If nobody has set any body to any motion and there was no external force, because even for an external force there needs to be a motion, then everybody would have been always at rest. So there are some fundamental questions. Science has tons and tons of speculations. There are things where science is right, where it is drishta, apparent. If somebody says whatever I am wearing here is in red in color, we don't need shastra for that. We don't need shastras, because the purpose of shastras is not to deal with drishta. Drishta is what you see, pratyaksha pramana. I know that this person is here. That is pratyaksha. I see a car. Then I say that if there is a car, somebody has driven it here. Did you see that person? No, I didn't see that person. So how did the car come here? Because the car cannot come here on its own. How do you say that? By my experience. So then you start believing something called as assumption. That is, you assume based on certain data that you have gathered, you say that if this is what has happened, before to this, something else should have happened. There was a cause, and what I see is the effect. For example, nobody in this world knows exactly who is their mother, because when they are born for their mother, they have not developed the cognitive ability to see people, to know people. So how do you know who is your mother? You just believe. Why? Because you have been associated with them. They have been continuously doing only good for you. What you have developed is known as a trust that they will always do good for you. Based on the trust, what you have developed is known as faith. You have developed faith on them, because my mother always does good for me. When I am, having fever, she takes care of me. When I am hungry, she gives me food. When I need, go to school, they provide me very good, uniform, dresses, books, education. They do everything good for me. So why would she lie to me? The same way, our sages, they have continuously and consistently, they have performed. They have performed continuously and consistently. Only good. They have done only good for the society. Because of this consistency, we started developing faith on them, trust on them. And when they say there is God that they have experienced, we believe them because they have no reason to lie to us. They are not some X, Y, and Z who just comes and tells, you know what, I know somebody called as God. No. They put themselves into so much of tough situations, so many tough situations they put themselves into, and they have done the so-called penance, and they have, acquired certain powers, and they have acquired this wisdom, and they have gone through certain experiences, using which they have done so many good things to the society continuously in a very consistent fashion, and hence people started having faith on them. And that is how the faith on God comes. So if somebody says, I have not seen my mother, so I don't believe that there is a mother for me. It is similar to that. So either ways, just because you have not seen, it doesn't mean you should not believe. That is the case of your mother. You have not seen your mother when you were born. And just because things are happening, it doesn't mean that it would have happened by accident. If even in our normal life, if we find that if you see some object, you say that somebody has done this, somebody has manufactured this. That is the case. With common logic, you can say that the world has been created by somebody. Look at the perfection in everything. Look at the variety in everything. Look at the design, massive design. The water from the sea evaporates, it goes up. After a particular height, it becomes cold. And when it passes through the mountains, it falls as, the rain. And from the mountain to the sea, there is an incline, basically. There's a slope through which the water flows, and that is what is known as a river. Who has designed all these things? Who architected this? Why the sea does not cross the borders? Why it just doesn't come pop in and say hi to everybody? Just wiping off, a huge set of population in a fraction of a second. Why Earth is not quaking all the time? Who is holding all these things? Then the Vedas say, Bhishasmat Vatapavate Bhisho Deti Surya. Be it the sun or the wind or the death, everybody, they work in perfection, fearing who is known as the Supreme. They work for the Supreme God in such a perfection. That's the beauty of this world. Till date, we have not invented any machine to which if you just give a bunch of grass, that will give you milk. We have not done that. We have not created any new life from nothing. We have always taken something, be it cloning or whatever it is, always from something. who created life in the beginning? Science only speculates, and neither science has seen anything. It's all about some, kind of research and some outcomes, and science keeps on refining, fine-tuning. Whatever it established, it by itself contradicts, and then again it establishes something else. So science has its own, loopholes and flaws. I don't mean that science is completely wrong. So that which is in front of us, for that you can use science. Science is based on logic and experimenting, empirical, as simple as that. It's not something out of our mind. Whereas these things are metaphysical, paranormal phenomena. It comes in thaumatology, theology, and all this. I know I have answered more than what is required for your question, but it helps even your parents to understand that nobody is trying to force this belief. It's a beautiful world, and somebody has created that, and he is trying to communicate to us. Just try communicating and experience the beautiful, connection with that supreme. It's very enjoyable.
Again. So if you have, like, before I go to the next question, if any of you have any questions in whatever Swami has explained right now, you can ask. You can get more. If you want more clarification, you can ask him. You're more free to ask. Don't think, we can't ask, we can't speak to Swami. You can. If any of you have any doubt in whatever the explanation that he has given so far, do you have any doubts?
I am all ears.
Do you need any more clarifications? Shall I move to the next question? You can take your own time. Like, if you need to ask, you don't have to hesitate. Okay, so I'll go to the next question. If Rama is history, why do I need to follow him? I'm not a king, and my situation, what I'm facing now, it will be totally different. Should I see Rama as a moral person or God himself?
See, seeing Rama as God is one thing. I think I got some questions. Somebody posted some question.
Again, Swami, அது முதல்ல அந்த கண்டினியூட்டி அந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் செட்டோட இதோட முடியறது, இந்த क्वेश्चनோட முடியறது அவளோடது. சோ அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் சாட்ல இருந்து டேவிட் படிக்கிறேன்.
To begin with, go with the qualities of Rama. To begin with, go with the qualities of Rama. Consider the morality and follow that. That's a good start. Eventually, you will end up realizing that he was God. If you don't want to believe that to begin with, that's okay. There's nothing wrong. But don't say that even Rama was a history and somebody tells stories and other things. I mean, see, that is always there. Everybody is a history. You are going to become history tomorrow. Everybody is going to become history someday or other. But we do learn from history. And God, in the case of God, God is never a history, unlike others. His incarnation is for a purpose. So Rama's qualities are to be used again from an aspect of following for the beginners. For the practitioners like Alvars, merely just mentioning Rama's name gives them a blissful experience. Once you get into that stage, you will start experiencing that. So to begin with, if you don't want to believe him as a God, it's okay. That's not something fundamentally wrong for a beginner. But Rama was personification of all great qualities. So try following those qualities to begin with.
Again.
Can we say that there are no different gods, but every god is a single form of energy? Actually, there is only one god. Let us be very clear. The Vedic system does not preach that there are many gods. We have only one God. We have only one God. Let us be very, very clear. If we are into the Vedic system, as per the Vedas, as per the sages and the saints, there is only one God. That God is known as Supreme, and we call him as Sriman Narayana. Full stop. There is no other ambiguity in this. There's no ambiguity in this. In any of the philosophies, be it Shankara's philosophy or Madhvacharya's philosophy, Shankaracharya's philosophy, Ramanujacharya or Nimbharka, Vallabha, Sankaradeva, Swamy Narayana, Gaudiya, Ramananda, all the Vedic, anything that is based on Vedic system has no debate that the Supreme Lord is Sriman Narayana. Let's be very, very clear. And this has been established in the last dictum of what is known as Purva Mimamsa. The last episode is known as Daiva Mimamsa by Kasa Krishna, that clearly declares that Lord Hari is what is the supreme. Ante harohu tad darshanat sa Vishnuhu ahahi. His name is known as Vishnu. Tam brahmetya chakshate, tam brahmetya chakshate. That is the one who is also seen as Brahman, the supreme, the supreme. It repeats. And then Sri Vedavyasa begins the Brahma Sutra as Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So it is very clearly declared in the Deva Mimamsa of Kasha Krishna that the supreme is only Lord Vishnu. There's beyond any doubt. If somebody wants some other deity like Brahma, Rudra, Indra to be their supreme, it is their will and wish. They can be happy about that. We are not trying to debate, fight, or confront. This is the Vedic system's belief. The Vedic system is very, very clear, crystal clear. And there is something called as a neo-Vedic system, where the newcomers, or there are some people who are having a lot of confusion. They have their own different versions. So at the core, the Vedic system is very, very clear that there is only one God. So what about all these so many other so-called gods that we are seeing? Let me be point blank. There are only two groups in that. One set is known as Devatas. There is one God under whom there is a hierarchy. There is a hierarchy. Like there is one CEO in the company, and then then you have all other vice presidents and managers, general managers, like that. There is a hierarchy in the celestial beings. And the human beings actually fit into that hierarchy as well. We are at there are subspecies to us. There are supra species to us. And we can also go up the ladder. There will be a lot of competition. There will be appraisals, right? Everything happens. But you can never be that God. At the most, you can reach the topmost position within this framework, Brahma. That's the topmost position one can gain. And there can be only one Brahma for one particular, the so-called Anda. That is one egg or one limited universe. And there are so many universes that are created by Supreme Lord Sriman Narayana. That is different. So there is one God, Supreme, and there are many Devatas. These Devatas are nothing but positions. They are not fixed. Like you get into a company as a manager, right? If you leave, what happens to that manager position? It is filled by somebody else. Similar to that, we are all Jivatmas. For example, the person who you see is just the body that you are seeing. I am here. I'm residing here. This is my place. I'm using this body to communicate. When I leave this body, they call this as a dead body. But I go and take up some other body. The body could be of some devata, some supra species, one of the supra species, or it could be something which is lower than the human, which is an animal or a plant or a bacteria or whatever. Right? So, be it Brahma or Indra or Rudra or Varuna, Agni, Vayu, Aryama, Vidyut, all these are positions. And in Sanskrit, they call them as Adhikari Purusha. It's a role. Because I'll tell you another interesting question for which we'll answer it now. They say Veda, the Vedas that we see, they are eternal and they have no beginning. They have been there since time immemorial. Vedas exist from time immemorial. They always exist. If Vedas always exist, in Vedas there is a mention of sage Vishwamitra. Then Vishwamitra should also exist from the time of Veda. So Vishwamitra is also permanent. Is that so? No, it is not. Brahma, Indra, all these are roles. They are positions. A Jivatma, by its hard work, by its penance, by its utmost zeal, when it wants to attain that position, it works for that. And the methodology is prescribed. And when somebody follows that, and when they succeed, then they get to that position. But the position is not permanent. Similar to the human beings having 100 years, even Brahma has 100 years. But one day of Brahma is like one kalpa, which is about 430 plus crore human years. So the duration might be longer, but they still have an end. Once this Brahma is gone, there is another Jivatma that will take up that Brahma's position. So all these Devatas, they are not permanent. They are Jivatmas like us. They are Jivatmas like us. Because they are above us, we call them as Devatas. Now this is one group. This Devata group is one group. These Devatas are those who are mentioned in the Vedas. Only those who are mentioned in the Vedas, we call them as Devatas. Now, who are all the Devatas? Those who are mentioned in this Veda, Vedic scripture, that is documented by a great sage known as Shaunaka. What he did was, he compiled a work called as Brihad Devata. He compiled a work known as Brihad Devata. This Brihad Devata contains all the Devatas that are mentioned in Vedas, which means as per the creation, as per the Vedic methodology, the Vedic cosmic universe was created with all these Devatas in place in a particular hierarchy. Then what about so many temples that are coming here and there, left, right, and center? You have varieties of new names and new gods. They call them as. They are left to those believers. Let us not get into that. We have no relevance with them. We have zero relevance with them. We don't subscribe to those temples like Shakta, Pashupata. They have so many deities, which I don't want to even name. Those deities are their own belief. We respect that. Everybody has the right to believe. Some people have the right to believe, not to believe. We respect that. We will not confront. But we don't subscribe to that. So only those devatas that are mentioned in the Vedas, we call them as devata. They are not gods, but they are more powerful than us. We call them as godlike. They are not demigods and all. Demigod is like half god. What is half god? There's nothing called half god and all. They are jivatmas like us. But to us, because they are more powerful, we tend to see them as God at the earlier beginning stage. Once we drill deep inside, then we find that there is a Antaryami, that is a supreme. So they are known as God-likes. They appear to be God at some point in time for us. Then we find out that we can also get that position, we can also acquire that position. But then there is somebody known as Supreme, Lord Sriman Narayana. And there is only one. There's no one in part, there is no one above. And he's of a different breed. And he's unique. He is distinct. And he's only one. Brahmam Ekameva Advitiyam. So once we understand this, now do we want to call the God as some form of energy? See, energy is a very simple scientific term. Because if you reduce, for example, if you call me who is talking, if you say that there is some energy called as Atma, which is talking, is that how you see me? My father is a energy, my mother is a energy. It is nothing but some small dot inside. We don't say that. We have emotions. We have feelings. We experience. We communicate. We grow. We reproduce. We live. It's lively, right? Don't reduce it to a word known as some form of energy. That is the scientific way of terming it. That's really awful. Let's not get into that. Our God is beautiful. It's a personal God that we have. Sri Ramanujacharya, all credit goes to him. He reveals that dimension of this personal God who is so lovable, who is compassionate with us, who wants to communicate, who is eagerly waiting for being with us all the time, helping us all the time. He's running this whole beautiful show, and we call him as some energy. No, that's not the way we say that. Right? So let us not use those words like God is some supreme energy. No, he's a person. And we are just a scintillation of him, and hence we also look like we are persons. The very reason why we look like persons is because we are just a small dot, a scintillation of him. So God is a beautiful person who can talk like us, who can do things like us, and who can do things much better than us. And who is ready to help, and he's already helping. He's ready to help us all the time. So let us not reduce him to a primitive thing like an energy or some light or anything like that. This is lively. Okay.
அரே இல்ல யாருக்காவது இருக்கா ஃபர்தர் கிளாரிஃபிகேஷன் வேணுமா கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருக்கா ஃபர்தர் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் இருக்கா இந்த இந்த பர்టిక్యులர் பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் கொஸ்டின்ல do you have any other questions on related to this more clarification is needed you're good ஓகே சரி ஒரு குழந்தை வந்து ரொம்ப ஒரு பெரிய கொஸ்டின் கேட்டிருக்கா என்ன கேட்டிருக்கானா
just a second
அரே
if Brahma is so powerful, why he cannot go to Paramapadam? It's a beautiful question. I love this kind of question. This is the beauty of the next generation. They ask questions and we should answer them. I have taken sannyas, right? And I was a software architect before. Now if somebody says, you have the capability, why can't you go and work as a software architect? Well, I don't want to. I don't want to. That is why I have taken sannyas. I have renunciated. I don't want to work. Brahma doesn't want Paramapadam. That is why he is at Brahma's position. If Brahma wanted Paramapadam, why would he want the Brahma's position? If you want to create this world and control this world, you will become Brahma. If you go and tell Supreme Lord Sriman Narayana, I want to control this world. I want to create this world, enjoy creating this using the sacrifices, divine sacrifices called as yajna that you have mentioned in the Vedas. So a person who can recite all the four Vedas at the same time, he can do Srishti. So that is why Brahma has four heads. And he does yajna. When he does the yajna and when he chants those Vedic mantras, he is the Hota, he is the Advaryu, he is the Udgata, and he is Brahma by himself. All the four in one. He is four in one. So when he does this yajna, he can do Srishti, creation. So if you say that I want to become Brahma, Brahma will make you as Brahma. Then you have to complete your 100 years in order to ask next whether you want to go to Paramabodham or not. Because once you have been given a Brahma position, if you say, no, I don't want it now, I want to go to Paramabodham, what happens to the world that you created? Where is your accountability? If you ask for anything, you have to, when you get it, you have to have accountability. I have taken this body. I am a male. If I say suddenly, I want to become a female, does it happen? Doesn't happen. No, I want to feel like how a mom feels. I want to have a baby. I want to become a mom now itself. It's not possible because I have asked for this. But I can keep thinking about that in this entire birth that I want to be like this. I want to know what is love for the child from a mother. I want to be a mother. If I keep on thinking like this, in the next birth, I'll be given an opportunity to become a woman. Similarly, if Brahma is interested in going to Paramapadam, it is not about power, it is about his interest. And you know what? If he continuously keeps on contemplating that I have by mistake taken this Brahma Padavi position and I want to get Paramapadam, I want to end this, definitely Perumal will help him. Unfortunately, once you get into that kind of power, you wouldn't want to let it go. The present Brahma, in one of the Puranas, he says, he goes and tells the Supreme Lord, Perumal, Sriman Narayana, he says, the next Brahma's position should also be given to me. Don't give it to somebody else. That is the kind of mindset you will get into once you have that power that you are creating everything in this world and anything that acts in this world is in your control. You are deciding the fate of everyone. Once you get such a power, you wouldn't want to leave that. So it is not about the power of Brahma to go to Paramapadam. It is about his interest. And it is about what he wants to do. That's what he asked for. That's what he get it. There is one rule that you have to memorize. It is known as Tat Kratu Nyayam. Yatha upasate tathaiva phalam ashnute. You get what you ask. Perumal gives you what you exactly ask for. If you say, I want to become a Brahma, he gives it. And then if you say, no, I don't want to become Brahma, you have to wait until the Brahma's age is over. And until you are a Brahma, you cannot do anything else. So your mind, everything will be fixed in such a way that you will enjoy doing that creation for that entire 100 years. Okay. Should girls have to marry? I don't want to marry. How can I do Kankaryam to Perumal? I'm learning Divya Prabandham and Slokas. Isn't that enough? It's totally your choice. I don't think I have anything to say in that. It is your choice. Yes, you can do Kankaryam to Perumal. So I have no opinion about that. It is your personal interest. If you're so interested in doing Kankaryam to Perumal, you should be welcome. But you will have definitely challenges in the society because the design of the society is like that. But if you stick to Perumal's feet, he will definitely take care. For sure. I understand God helps us, but why does He help us? God actually has two eyes. God has two eyes. He is the one who is running the world through one eye. It's known as Jagat Vyapara. We call it as fate, right? Whatever happens in this world, it happens because of fate. Now, what is fate? What is destiny? Who decides it? Many times we struggle to find answers to certain things. Some people are struggling, suffering. And where is this God? What is this God doing? Why He is not, creating this world that can always be happy? What is this problem? What is the problem with this God? Why some people are suffering? Why can't He create a world that is always peaceful? Okay, that is a question that we should answer here first. Once we answer that, then this question will be answered. Why God helps us? So, if God has to create a world that is always happy, there is a world that is known as moksha or Vaikuntha. There, people experience bliss, happiness all the time. Everybody is good, everybody does good, and everybody is happy all the time. If that is what you want, yes, there is a world on the other side. But this world is also created by God to give us an opportunity to do what we want. That is what is Leela Vibhuti. Here he gives what is known as independence. But once he gives this independence, you have to remember that if I am independent, I can do whatever I want. And if I am the only person in this world, then there are no problem. There is no problem. But even if there is one more person and he can also do anything in this world, remember there is a small problem. The problem is if that person does something different and I do something different, there are no issues. But if that person interferes in my work, because he is independent, he can do anything. So he can interfere in my work. And because I am independent, I can do anything. I can also interfere in his work. Then there is a problem. And that is what is this world. This world is full of those people who have been given some liberty to do what they want. As long as they do things without disturbing others, without harming others, it will be a beautiful world. Now, how do I know what is harm or not? That is why we need Shastras, scriptures. Scriptures say that if you do this, if you follow these rules, you will not harm others. Others will not harm you. But it's not just you who should follow the Shastra. Everybody should follow. Now, if everybody should follow it, can God force everybody to follow it? No. If He forces you to follow it, you have no independence. So, what is it that God can do? God cannot interfere. He cannot interfere. He cannot force you to go through the Shastras and follow it strictly. He cannot. So, He will allow you to do things and He will give you the result. If you have a clash with somebody else, you have to face it. There is a fire that will burn, and you can cook wonderful food with that. That is what is the design of the fire. And the Shastras say that the fire will burn. But if you go and put your finger there, the fire will cook your finger as well. Because that's the order of the world. The world exists and it will do what it has to do. So if I touch fire, it is painful. The only thing that I can do is how to recover sooner from this. But I cannot say, why did you create fire? Because the fire was created not to cook your finger, but to cook vegetables, to cook food, do good things. If you don't know how to use that, then don't go to nearer to that. I didn't know, so I touched it. If you didn't know, why did you touch it? You have been given the ability to know. So it is your responsibility to know it. This is how the world works. This is what is the world. So you can't say that, I will touch the fire, it should not burn me. That's not how it works. But if you touch the fire, is there a medicine that you can apply? Where do you get the medicine from? Who gave you those herbs? That is God. So God allows you to do things and he gives you result. He also gives you remedies. He also helps you directly or indirectly. Otherwise, if everybody has to once they burn the finger, if they lose it, that is too rude. There should be an opportunity to, remediate things. That will give people some hope. Right? So, it's a beautiful world. You don't say that, why God should help us. You should ask for help. Because many times we are so lost in this world and we need help. And there will be nobody else other than God. So it's good that God is helping us. We'll wind up for now, or is there any other question?
I didn't have the question about Brahma topic. Why do all bad guys come to Brahma and Shiva, and why do they give the boon to the bad guy?
யார் கேக்குறாக்கன்னா திவ்யா வரதராஜனா? திவ்யா வரதராஜன்
வரதராஜன்.
உன்னோட பேர் சொல்லு. அடியன் சுவாமி கிட்ட அடியன் சொல்லி உன்னோட பேர் சொல்லு.
வரதராஜன்.
அடி.
Okay. See, there is one simple rule, right? If a student is bad, in a class, he's fighting with everybody. But if he writes the exam very well, will he be given a pass mark, or will they say that no, you are bad, so you won't go to the next class? You will be given the pass mark, right? If you write the exam well, you will be given a pass mark or not?
Pass mark.
Will you clear the exam or not if you write the exam well? You will clear the exam, right? But what if somebody says, no, you are a bad guy, so you can't clear the exam? The exam is only for what you have studied, not for how you behave, right? Similarly, when these Rakshasas, those people, when they do the tapas, it is an exam. It is an exam for their austerity. It is their exam for their austerity. How hard they worked, how much efforts they put in for that. Now, if they use it for bad purpose, some people get the college degree, but then they do bad things, right? Can we stop them from doing bad things? Can you say why university gave them a degree? You can't say that. So Brahma or Shiva or Indra, whoever it is, if somebody does the penance on that particular devata, the order for them is to give the boon. They have no choice. Now they should be smart enough. They should be smart enough in giving the right boon. So there is nothing wrong in giving boon to the Rakshasas. Because the boon is not given for the behavior. The boon is given for their penance. Did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
அடியன் எனக்கும் ஒரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்கு. இன்னைக்கு நாள் பாசுரம் ஒருத்தி மகனாய் பிறந்தல அர்த்தத்துல திருவிருத்தம் பாசுரம் தான் திருவாய்மொழி பதிகமாக வளர்றது, ஒலித்து வளர்றது அப்படின்னு அர்த்தம் கேட்டேன். ஆனா அது எப்படி வளர்றது அப்படின்னு பாக்கணும். பாக்குறதுக்கு ஆசையா இருக்கு. ஆனா எனக்கு திருவாய்மொழி இன்னும் சமாசயனம் ஆல, அதனால கத்துக்க முடியாது. அவ்வளவு நேரம் வெயிட் பண்ணணுமா?
You can undergo Samashranam right away.
Yeah.
Ask your parents for help. Women can undergo what is known as Pushpa Samashranam. If some acharyas, they allow that. So as to learn Thiruvaimozhi.
அடியேன்.
Then check with your acharyan. Some acharyans allow that.
அடியேன்.
Technically, there is nothing that can stop anyone from undergoing Samashranam even before marriage. But due to practical convenience, it is been a custom or a tradition that women undergo Samashranam after marriage along with her spouse, her husband, to the same acharya. More of a convenience. But if you have so much of interest in learning Thiruvaimozhi and if your acharyan permits, I mean, who's going to stop you? Why did Lord Krishna chose to be a cowherd? Lord Vishnu decided to be a cowherd during his life as Krishna. That's a beautiful question. So the question is, why not? Why he should? Why is cowherd such a bad thing? Vishnu was so tired of becoming a king like Rama, a Brahmana like Parashurama, or Vamana. He did all those things. So for a change, he tried cowherd. What is wrong with that? I mean, he will be born in more and more such, type of forms. He will take more such forms like that. Supreme loves to be part of us. Let me tell you very simple. This is the beauty of Sri Ramanuja Darshana. It's a beautiful concept that you will have to understand. Unlike others who say that the Supreme is very powerful, he can do all this, that, and all. Our Sampradhaya focuses more on this beautiful, all-powerful God who is literally just craving to be one among us. This beautiful God is literally craving to be one among us. Not only just one among us, he wants us to treat him as one among us. We should not be saying, oh Krishna, you are a supreme, you have 4 hands, you have Shankha Chakra, you are great, you are God. If we say that, he feels very bad. He feels hurt. And that's what happened in Tirupavai. Andal started saying, Narayanane namakke paredarvana. Oh, we are talking about Narayana. Krishna is Narayana. When they said that, Krishna felt so hurt that he did not respond to them. So at the end, Andal Nachiyar confesses. She says, oh, I am extremely sorry that I called you as Narayana, which is something that you don't like. You like the name Govinda, which is the name given by the cowherds, the Gopas and Gopikas. Undannai siruber aழைத்தனவும் சீரி அருளாதே. We called you as Narayana, which is actually a very belittling thing to you. We are very sorry about that. We'll call you as Govinda. You are just part of us. You are not some god or somebody different. We don't want to call you like that. So he, because he is supreme and there is nobody like him, he always feels he is alone. Because we all are like together, all of us. And he always feels left out. He feels left out. So he wants to be part of us. So he comes down in different forms and he wants us to accept him. So that is what is the greatness of this Supreme. Unlike other gods who maintain, unlike other godlikes, the Devatas, who maintain their position, he comes down so much and loves to be part of us without we telling him or calling him as God. Oh, you are God, you are separate, you are different. He doesn't like that. So he loves to be a cowherd. Okay.
Swami, two other questions, Swami. Why hasn't Vishnu taken any female avatars? Another question is, why does Perumal help Pragaladan if he is not allowed to interfere with us? There's another third question there, which we can come back later on. As kids and parents are concerned about having Thiruman to school and outside places, how do we overcome this in kids' minds? What kind of knowledge and advice we should be imparted to kids and parents so that they wear Thiruman?
Okay, what was the second question?
Why does Perumal help Prahaladan if he's not allowed to interfere with us?
Why does not Perumal help Prahaladan?
Why does Perumal help Prahaladan if Perumal is not allowed to interfere with us? I think in one of the responses to the previous question, so Devari had mentioned that Perumal cannot interfere too much with us. So it's like a follow-up question, I think, where they're asking, why is Perumal helping Prahaladan if he's not allowed to interfere with us?
Excellent. So yes, there is a sequence to that. So let me complete with this so that we can have the rest of the things in the next session. To quickly answer that why Perumal did not take female, avatar, like that. He did come as Mohini. He took Mohini avataram. He has taken that avataram. So it's not that he did not take it. Okay. So he could take many more avatarams. It's a Mohini avataram is a very classical avataram in which he has taken a women form. So let's be very clear. So he's not somebody who doesn't want to do it. But in general, most of the incarnations involve fighting with Rakshasas and the demons and those kind of things. So he prefers to take this kind of form is what right now for the beginners, I will only give that level of answer right now. But there are so many other things that we can discuss at an esoteric level. Keep that separate. Why Perumal helped Prahlada if he cannot interfere? Now, see, let's understand this. He has given us independence and we do things on our own. If Perumal comes and tries to force us, we can say you don't force us. So instead of we telling him, he himself maintains the distance. He doesn't interfere. But if we go and ask for help, he's waiting to help us. If we go and ask for help, he's waiting to help us. Remember that. So Prahlada was always connected to Perumal. So Perumal helped him. Prahlada allowed Perumal to help him. You can say, I don't want Perumal's help. I want to do things on my own. And Perumal will not help you. He will allow you to do what you want. Right? So if, for example, you have touched the fire, your finger is burnt. Now if you say, I am asking help from Perumal, can Perumal help me? So what Perumal will tell you is that, yes, you have some medicines, you can put it. I can show you a doctor. Those are the things that he can do. If you want him to just make your wound disappear, then he will also ask you something. He'll say that you are asking the help now, but I have already helped you. I have given you what is known as brain. I had given you eyes. Why did you go and touch the fire? The same is the answer for this COVID. How COVID spreads? Only because of indiscipline. It is spreading only from human to human. If I have COVID, if I maintain my discipline, if I quarantine myself, if I don't go out, how will it spread? It will never spread. Even if I don't know that I have COVID, still if I maintain the precautionary measures like putting the mask and maintaining the distance, how will it spread? It is because of our indiscipline. So it is not that God is not helping us, but we are not looking for help. We are not utilizing the help he has already done. Like he has given us brains, he has given us the knowledge, right? So we are doing things. We can't say that we will do whatever we want. I will go and cut somebody's head and then say, God, please put the head back. That's not fair. It just doesn't make sense. The world is running by the law of cause and effect. You do something, there is an effect. And you have to experience the effect. What was the last one?
Adiyan.
Wearing Sri Charanam Thiruman to school. So how can kids and parents get comfortable with it? So because they are getting some reactions at school or office, how can we advise? Yeah.
Office, I don't think so. See, we have so many religions. For example, Jews, they always have their cap. If you see the Sikhs, they always have their turban. So what is wrong with our tilakam? There's nothing wrong. It is a mindset, number one. It is a sheer mindset, number one. Number two, it is our inability to educate people. We have to tell people that this is our paraphernalia. We believe in this. We are not here to discriminate. We respect everybody and we expect everybody to respect us. Third thing is tolerance. Yes, there will always be some people who will make a fun, who will mock at us. Ignore. Ignore. Somebody calls me a donkey. Do I become a donkey? I don't. So it's a mindset. Be proud. Be proud about your religion. Respect others' religion. Don't go and tell others or ask others why you are not wearing it. Don't do that. Don't discriminate. Don't speak ill of others, but be proud of yourself. This is my right. Nobody can. Right to religion. Nobody can stop you from maintaining your religion. Nobody in this world.
Adiyan, ஒரு கொஸ்டின் இருக்கு பட் அது அடுத்த செஷன் வச்சுக்கலாம் சுவாமி. அது அந்த அடுத்த செஷனோட ஸ்டார்டிங்ல வச்சுக்கலாம் அது.
அதோட டெப்த் வச்சு I can tell.
அதுக்கு தான் சொன்னேன். Why first of all God created this world அப்படின்னு கேட்டிருக்கா.
Oh, okay.
அதான்
That is something that we have to ask only God actually to begin with. For the beginners, that is all we can say. What is the problem with this world? The world is beautiful. Yes, there are ups and downs. So there is another world where you can always be permanently happy. Why God should not create this world? We are at his disposal. So we are part and parcel of God. It is this beautiful world. He wanted to enjoy this world. So he has created it. He is enjoying it. We are part and parcel of that. That's all. So it's his world. Why this question is like, why did my parents give birth to me? I mean, come on. What is wrong with that? You are there and they are taking care of you. What's your problem? Right? So God is taking care of everyone. And yes, there are some children who are mischievous. There are some bad children and there are some good children. So he sometimes gently, gives some punishment to bad students, bad children, and it's always there. It's a mix. Just maintain the thumb rule. Respect others. They can be a thief or whatever they can be. Allow them. That is what they want. If somebody comes and asks you something, then tell good things. Do good all the time, whether somebody likes it or not. From your side, whatever is expected is only good. Do only good things. Do your best.
ஒரே ஒரு குழந்தையோட கொஸ்டின் மட்டும் மிச்சம் இருக்கு அடியன் சுவாமி.
அதையும் கேளு.
அது ஒரே ஒரு கொஸ்டின். சஹானா மாதவ் இருக்கியா? நீ கிளம்பிட்டியான்னு தெரியல. இஸ் மகாபாரதா அண்ட் ராமாயணா somehow connected?
Connected in many ways. As of now, I will say that they are all connected. The purpose of both these incarnations, that is Lord Rama as well as Krishna, is to expose the very soft side of the Supreme God. That is the Saulabhya, Saushilya, those kind of beautiful qualities of Perumal. So that side of it was exposed in these two, in Rama and Krishna. So that's how they both are connected. Both Ramayana and Mahabharata, they both are connected by Perumal. They are connected by Perumal.
அடியன் பெருமாள் தாயார் நமக்கு பேரண்ட்ஸ் தான் ஒருத்தர் கேட்டிருந்தா, அதை அட்ரஸ் பண்ணிட்டேலாம் என்னன்னு அடியன்?
Yes, they are our parents.
சம்பத்
Our
ராமா
parents who are us. Us means we are the Atma. If you are thinking about this body, the body was given by, see, what you see is given by those who you can see. What you cannot see is given by those who you cannot see. So Perumal and Tayar, they are the actual parents for the soul. But for this body, the parents who are in front of you, they have given it.
அடியன் பசங்க நிறுத்தவே இல்ல கொஸ்டின் கேக்குறத. சம்பத் ராமானுஜம், you can unmute and ask Swamy.
அடியன் தாசன், என்னோட பேர் சான்வி. எனக்கு கொஸ்டின் என்னன்னா, லைக் உடையவர் வந்து யாதவ பிரகாஷ் இருக்காரு. அதனால யாதவ பிரகாஷர் தப்பான சாஸ்திரத்துக்கு அர்த்தம்லாம் கொடுத்தாரு சிஷ்யாஸ்கெல்லாம். அதனால சிஷ்யாவெல்லாம் யாரு கரெக்ட் பண்ணாங்க? கரெக்ட் அர்த்தம்?
Can you come again?
யாதவ பிரகாஷர் சாஸ்திரத்துக்கு தப்பான அர்த்தம் தந்தார்னா அவருடைய சிஷ்யர்களெல்லாம் யாரு கரெக்டான அர்த்தம் தந்தாங்க?
அவர் தப்பா சொல்லி கொடுத்தாருன்னா சிஷ்யால தப்பா தான் கத்துப்பா. ராமானுஜர் ஒருத்தர் தான் கரெக்டா சொன்னார், வேற யாரும் சொல்லல. அதனாலதான் அவருக்கு ப்ராப்ளம் ஆச்சு.
அந்த சிஷ்யாச மிச்சம் இருக்கிற சிஷ்யாசை யார் கரெக்ட் பண்ணினா?
மிச்சம் இருக்கிற சிஷ்யாசையா
யார் கரெக்ட் பண்ணினா?
அதெல்லாம் ரெக்கார்ட்ல இல்ல. பட் யாதவ பிரகாஷ் himself got corrected and he came. So naturally others have come. That is what is the understanding. But that is not on record. So we don't know. We pray that they have got corrected. Abdi yaradhu somebody was not corrected na, I could be one of them. Now I am trying to get corrected. After many births, I am still here. So this is only an attempt to help our next generation to to have some kind of some level of clarity on our Sampradhayam. So there could be improvements in this session as well as in the responses and other things. I will also try to correct myself if whenever pointed out there are any mistakes from my side. I will stand corrected, and I am open for any kind of comment. And thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to speak about all these things. Srimati Ramanujan,
அடியோங்கள் தான் கிருதஜ்ஞதை தெரிவிக்கணும் சுவாமி தேவருக்கு. எல்லா குழந்தைகளும் வந்து அவ இருக்கும் அவ லெவலுக்கு இறங்கி தேவரேஜ் கொஸ்டின்ஸ் கிளாரிபிகேஷன் பண்ணதுக்கு. ஸ்ரீமதே ரம்யஜா மாத்ரு முனீந்திராய் மகாத்மனி ஸ்ரீ ரங்கவாசினே பூயாத் நித்யஸ்ரீ நித்யமங்கலம். ஸ்ரீமதே விஷ்ணுத்தாரி மனோநந்த ஹேதவே நந்தநந்தன சுந்தரே கோதாய நித்யமங்கலம். அவகத மதமானைः अन्तिमोपायनिष्ठैः अधिगत परमार्थैः अर्थकामाननपेक्षैः निखिलजन सुहृद्भिः निर्जित क्रोधलोभैः वरवर मुनिवृत्तैः अस्तु मे नित्ययोगः.